Hello everyone. I hope all of you can hear me because I've plugged in my new like earphones and like my laptop, but I don't know, it has some problems with like the sound input or something. But anyway, so I think we most of us know who Robert Reich is. He's pretty much the former
Robert
like
Third Reich.
yeah, like I want to use that name. But he's like the former labor secretary of the Clinton administration. Although he was pretty left wing for even them. He like he now does his own videos. He's probably part of like some organization that because his videos are kind of high quality, but we're not going to like react to his usual like videos. But instead on like a CNN interview of him proposing the windfall tax and a brief explanation of the windfall tax. We've explained it. I've explained it before multiple times in previous videos, but a windfall tax is a tax on profits that are considered abnormally large, and that these profits are unjustified because they're caused by so-called caused by an event that the company was not responsible for, such as a war or a natural disaster. And the war in Ukraine and COVID, that is the large profits that the oil companies like gain. They've that I guess that just meets this so-called criteria of a windfall profit. And we have like high gas prices and such, and Reich wants to like in order to rectify this somehow is to like propose to propose a windfall profits tax. All right, I'm just gonna like check that we're like live, just to like double check. Yep, we're live. Good. Um, yeah. So I guess
Okay,
without
right on the
further.
face of it, doesn't this seem like a ridiculous idea? We, we,
Oh yeah.
we're going to impose arbitrary added costs on businesses to, I don't know, make them charge less for their products. Yeah,
uh,
this totally
I
makes sense. Yeah, this is
like
this is
I
totally gonna work.
yeah, I think they're gonna try transfer payments instead. Like, but still, this is gonna be a bad idea. We'll explain a lot why, but like and also yeah, if you haven't noticed, Mikhail's here, so yeah, say
Hi,
hi.
everybody.
So I guess without further ado, let's start the stream. I mean, not the stream, like the video.
Roll the video.
Met today with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to talk about inflation as prices of gas and food and housing continue to skyrocket and voter satisfaction sinks. Last hour, I spoke to the chair of the White House Council of Economic
Okay, time
Advisers.
out real fast.
Yeah, but I'm going too
Everyone
fast.
does understand that. Everyone does understand that inflation is an economy-wide phenomenon. It, it
Yeah,
it affects literally everything in the economy. Everyone does know that,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah.
They're optimistic.
What we understood about inflation at the time was that it was tied to the pandemic. We are still in the midst of this pandemic.
No, we're not.
Russia's
Yeah,
No, we're not.
like we're in the recovery stage, a reasonable recovery. Like there's cases here and there, but like I mean, like I think actually I'm glad to say we don't hear about COVID that much compared to last year. But yeah, like we're
Yeah,
I think
yeah. It's nice to not have to hear that on a hourly basis.
now we're just talking about post COVID stuff, like the Russia Ukraine war, which yeah,
Yay,
that's a
yay.
whole
That's wonderful. Love it.
yeah. Yeah.
Ukraine disabled not only gas prices and food prices, but also disrupted supply chains. We didn't foresee Delta, we didn't foresee Omicron. And so, yes, there have been unexpected challenges which have disrupted the natural getting us back to equilibrium, which would help bring down those prices.
A new poll shows 46% of Americans think economic conditions are poor and the government is not doing enough to fight inflation. Joining us now is Robert Reich. He served as labor secretary.
The government is causing inflation.
Well, I'd say to some extent maybe like inflation maybe like necessary in the
Well,
sense that like
I'm
demand
talking about the
exceeds.
Federal Reserve printing crap tons of money out of thin air. That's
Oh yeah,
the cause of
yeah,
inflation.
they're making it way worse. I'd say, much way worse.
Professor of
Yeah.
public policy at UC.
Yeah, inflation is caused by an expansion of the monetary base.
Berkeley. He's also
Anyway, roll film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
but is the volume too quiet for you?
Can you turn it up just a hair?
Um,
It is a little soft.
but it's the maximum. Well, let
Okay.
me. Oh,
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's fine. Here, let
Alright.
me see something on my end real fast. Okay, hold on. Go ahead.
okay.
system, who rigged it, how we fix
There we go, that's
it.
better.
Reich, thanks so much for being here. Before we get to how to fix it and solutions, let's just talk about how we got here, because there were various times during 2021 that President Biden and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and the head of the Fed, Jerome Powell, downplayed
Okay.
inflation. So let me just give you one.
Oh yeah, I've just noticed.
Hey, Toasted, what's up?
Nothing much, just I'm not sure. I know this is super random considering. Remember, we'll do a stream about tonight. Me and Mikhail. I don't know if you could do it, Darren, because of the time difference. Yeah, but just following this whole Kanye lore, if that makes sense. You heard Nick Fuentes got into a fight in the alley, threw a drink at a person.
yeah, you gave me
I
some
have
like
not heard that yet.
you gave me some like confusing random information about like Nick Fuentes, like this, so much like stuff about Fuentes that something that you sent me was, I don't know, like well, actually what. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, someone messaged me on like Discord. What?
Yeah.
Actually,
That wasn't me. I don't think it was me, man.
Yeah, I know it was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
No,
Alright,
anyways,
so
I just want guys to say something what disappoints me, if that makes sense. I used to think this saying. I remember in 2016, people saying, "Oh, the alt right is the woke SJW, is the right wing SJWs." I was like, "Oh, that's not true," you know what I mean? But after seeing this, I see like I get what they're saying, because what they say, like they're not into, what do they call again, into finding the truth. They're in many other times they're into fitting their own agenda just as much as SJWs, and like the way they speak about white people. I mean not white Jews. Even though some of it might be true, it's just like it's no different than a person talking about white people. You know what I mean? Black.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to put you through this. I'm sorry. Did I get you angry?
Actually, I was thinking we like resume maybe like a bit of Robert Reich, and maybe we could talk about like the whole Kanye Fuentes
Yeah, of
situation
course.
at the end.
Yeah. By the way, about something weird about how did you work in the Clinton administration? Clinton. For all you people say about Clinton, he was not a socialist. He was pretty moderate. How did Robert Reich,
Like from like what I've read, the vibes I'm getting is that like I don't know, maybe they Reich and like the Clinton administration didn't have end on good terms, and it was more like when he was appointed. I think maybe
yeah.
it was more like I don't know, maybe like a necessity. Maybe they had to like it was to satisfy
Now, which
some people.
administration was
Maybe
Robert Reich the labor secretary under?
Clinton administration.
Right, but then Clinton wasn't
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Clinton,
he's
right now. Clinton would be considered. I know. I mean, he would be considered pretty much a Republican now. I mean, not a Republican, but he would be very moderate. He would be like a I don't know, Kristen Sinema in the Senate, if that makes sense, or
yeah.
right.
If
Yeah,
anything,
Yeah.
he would probably rank as maybe just left of center right now.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just and I like how they say, "Oh, Europe is very they're not that left wing. Look at Europe, and first of all, on social issues, we're pretty left wing, and even on and on economic issues, Europe tends to be very very left. Very very left wing. They're just too left.
I do think like even in America, like economically you're you're still somewhat left wing. The only difference is that the Republicans are like the only major like force that are like resisting that, like things like say Medicare for no sorry no Medicare and Medicaid, like the FDA, a lot of like agencies, a lot of like government intervention. It's not to the same extent as like Europe, but there's a lot of significant stuff there.
By the way, I just one thing I want to say before I hate when this happens. You heard Sam Cedar got caught endorsing a scam. Him and David Pacman, and I think even Kyle Polinsky, in titles. What do they call it again? A thing which, if you do it, they make you a lady, or I don't want to blasphemize. If you buy land in Scotland, end up being a whole hoax. Established titles. Heard about that?
I haven't heard about that. Like,
Interesting.
Yeah, just Sam Cedar. And I think he's getting his hands on. I hate Sam Cedar, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. He's calling Stephen Crowder anti-Semite for what he said, even though he did not say anything anti-Semitic. Stephen Crowder likes, you know what I'm saying. What you can say about Stephen Crowder, he might be whatever, but he's not anti-Semitic. You know, he's not racist or anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? And it's just like he's for sure not anti-Semitic, and like, you know, I just never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, like I do. Yeah, I don't like Crowder, but like for the most part, like you know, when Seder like you know, tries to respond to like Crowder, it's on like it's often on the mediocre of points that there's a lot of stuff that Crowder says that are stupid that sometimes Seder is right about, but like a lot of time he's just nitpicky and like, you know, he makes like a 10-minute video out of like a 1 minute like clip, and like doesn't even focus on the rest of the context, like you know, it's which
I mean, no, like he called Crowder anti-Semitic for saying the truth. He said like there's some, you know, there's some Jews that are in the media that, you know what I'm saying, which is true. You know, he doesn't not say anything wrong, but he says when you say that it's because they're Jewish, that's exactly.
Yeah, like a clip of like Crowder denouncing anti-Semitism as anti-Semitic. Like,
I hate Sam. I really don't like Sam.
Yeah.
Sam Cedar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but like I think there's something funny about the whole scam.
Just to figure out what level of idiocy we're dealing with here.
Apparently, Sam Cedar is not doing this anymore. He's what's it called again? He but he's not is promoting the scam, and he wiped his hands clean. But the funny part is, he claims to be like a democratic socialist, that he's promoting, you know, these capitalist things. Like
I don't know if he's a democratic socialist, but
yeah,
I know that like Michael Brooks was a you know, democratic socialist. I'm not sure about like you know.
I really do not want to do this. I know I'm getting too random here, but one thing I'm just going to ask you before I leave this topic is, how is it that if a Republican, pro-life Republican has his mistress get abortion or gets an abortion themselves, we cancel them? They're like kicked out of Congress. I agree. I'm against that. You know what I'm saying? But if a Democratic socialist like Bernie Sanders buys a nice house, something like that, we don't put the same stuff on them, because they're just being just as much hypocrites as Republicans are. You know what I mean? And the Republicans say, "Oh, I'm getting abortion, but it's because the government does regulate it. If the government were regulated, I wouldn't do it." You know, the same thing that these Democratic socialist people say. You know what I mean?
I think it's a subconscious double standard that stems directly from party confirmation bias.
Exactly. Yeah, okay, fine. Now I'm gonna let you go back to this. I'm sorry. I just had to get some stuff off my chest.
Good, dude.
Yeah.
One example from Jerome Powell.
I really do not expect that we'll be in a situation where inflation rises to troubling levels.
Well, this guy was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was wrong.
Even CNN has to say that was wrong.
February of 2021, did they miss warning signs?
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to say in hindsight, Allison, that they missed warning signs, but I think the consensus among economists.
Sorry, someone's scrunching paper.
Oh, sorry. I was just eating. Sorry.
All right, thanks.
Missed warning signs, but I think the consensus among economists, people who were analyzing the economy, was that actually the inflation we saw back then, 3, 4, 5 months ago, was mostly pent-up demand from
wrong
years.
I mean, like, I do think it's like, you know, pent-up demand, but it's also supply side issues and like a
pandemic combined with supply shocks. I mean, all around the world. Those are still big issues, and there's a good reason.
Yeah, and government did that.
They helped with you know, worsen it with like excessive like lockdowns.
Exactly. Government did that. That's what I'm getting at here.
Good reason to think that inflation may have peaked.
May have peaked. Okay, where's he getting that from? Darren?
All right, sorry.
May be coming down, but on good reason to think that
Odd.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, like someone was coming in and out, like and interrupting the whole
Oh,
thing.
okay. Okay, that makes sense.
may have peaked, may be coming down, but undoubtedly they were a little bit optimistic.
So the president, his op-ed in the Wall Street Journal talked about his 3-point plan, and I spoke with Cecilia Rouse trying to figure out what is the action behind this plan. But short of legislation, and we know the reality of 60 votes to pass anything and Democrats changing the filibuster, beyond let the Fed handle it, how much of a plan can a White House actually execute to slow inflation?
Well, probably not all that much, Victor. But if you look at the big oil companies, for example, ExxonMobil, net profits of $5.5 billion, more than double.
Wow, he just totally changed the subject.
Yeah. I think this is
that's okay,
probably
because this gets into what we're about to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest profits ever. Chevron, the highest profits in a decade. I mean, these oil companies.
Okay, when he talks about like high profits, like I mean, it's relative, but like what I think maybe we need to look at stuff like net profit, net margin, like net profit margin, stuff like that, rather than like raw like numbers, because again, remember these profits are like subject to inflation as well. So
Oh, absolutely.
and also this, let's see, so they complain about like high oil profits, but like where is this? Okay, so
It's not to mention about this whole profit thing, because what does he think profits are? It's like even like in universities, they have a high profit thing. This thing is, instead of going to the shareholders, they go to the people working there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They go to the what do they call them? The administrators or board of directors in these colleges. They get way overpaid, but nobody talks about that. You know what I mean? And you can't. The reason is you can't blame socialism for. I mean, you can't blame capitalism for it. It's just because there's no profit incentive. You know what I mean? That's the funny part of this whole thing is they believe that government is going to doesn't have the incentive to make profit. Or maybe see even private companies.
I think the problem at hand here, which is inflation and its effects on the entirety of the economy, one thing we have to recognize is that it's government that actually caused it, but via the Fed printing crap tons of dollars out of thin air. That's literally how inflation happens. Okay, so right on the face of it, I have to ask, in what universe does it make sense to go to that same government wanting them to come up with a solution to the problem that they themselves caused?
Exactly. I mean, like any serious person knows that's the government. That's the reason why the reason why we have inflation is because of the overspending we do. You know what I mean? And these are the same people. Funny enough, these are the same people that say, "Oh, inflation's not so bad. We'll just pay people more money, stuff like that." This is the
yeah, it depends on like the timeline. Like earlier, Wright would have been saying stuff like that, but like of the like right now he's has a different tune. He's singing a different tune.
But by the way, one funny thing about Robert Reich, guess how tall he is?
5'3".
4'11".
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
He's kind of short, but that's okay.
yeah.
Interesting little tidbit.
I'm not a heightist personally.
No, not me either. Not me either. I believe, but there's just a funny thing. There's just because I hate. It's okay because I don't like Robert Reich. I could say that.
Yes, you don't, regardless of height, you don't like Robert Reich. That's very progressive.
Yeah, no, I'm saying a funny thing like Ann Coulter. She had a big roast on Comedy Central, and this lady says, as a feminist, I don't endorse the stuff that they're saying about Ann Coulter, but as a person that hates Ann Coulter, I endorse everything you guys are saying.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, like in terms of like the so-called like high profits and like during like this period, like first of like oil prices have been like historically been subject to long-term increases and declines based on market conditions and political events. So pretty much the oil sector has been like suffering through like a periods of like large significant downtimes, as well as like large profits, which we see here. And one of these like significant like downturns was like the pandemic.
Mhm.
But before that, I think maybe they, particularly during like Trump's term, I think they were maybe hurt due to like lowering of oil prices. And because of that, like let's see, so the companies that produce oil therefore generally anticipate such long-term increases and declines in their investment decisions, even as they cannot know the timing of most price movements. This is like in response to like whether or not these profits were like unanticipated. It's one argument for the like windfall tax, which is kind of debunked. At a minimum, their investment decisions anticipate that there will be both lean years and boom years, with the latter financing the business during the former. So the boom years, which is like the high profits they're receiving now, those will finance them during their periods of significant losses, because like what the oil sector is pretty like, I think like unstable, or let me see, economic centrally non-profit. But like yeah, the oil sector isn't that stable, and they plan, and because of that, like the oil companies needs these profits eventually, to like finance them during like periods of like high
Well,
losses.
correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, oil and gas prices are, economically speaking, a lot less sticky than a number of other, let's just say, prices and so forth, for various different goods and services. But the reason for that is because the oil industry itself, everyone knows that petroleum products are used in a veritable crap ton of things. Needless to say, raw oil, crude oil prices, crude oil has a lot of alternative uses than just the immediately obvious, like turning it into gasoline and whatnot. Okay.
Hmm.
So this market, this industry would be subject to a lot of different ever-changing variables at any given time, would it not?
Yeah, I think Stephen. Wait, yes, I think maybe Stephen Michael Davis like gone through this a bit in his like video, like kind of like I forgot a few
Yes,
of the
didn't he
points,
put
but
out a video on this, kind of on this topic here, just yesterday, I think?
yeah, I think this week, like he actually made like a very great like thumbnail from. I'm kind of proud of it. It's it's
Yeah,
oh
one thing I want to say about this whole climate, I'm gonna go on a whole climate change rant, but
yeah.
I'm not saying it's not true, but like,
Oh, wait, the video from yesterday, that was about manufacturing.
Yeah,
But I
the,
know that he
before
did
that was
go
oil.
through this here very recently at some point, didn't he?
Yeah, this is the one. Gates destroys the Young Turks on energy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, right. So
Nice.
yeah, one thing I'm just gonna say about this whole climate change thing is like, I don't know if these people know, but if America, even if America would stop existing, climate change wouldn't be having any effect. And these people say, "Oh, we're doing this just to, be a good example for other countries." Which I don't know how well this works. We're seeing how homosexuality. I don't know if it's really making any. I mean, like, the thing is like, I think what have more effect if you guys actually lived with what you preached. And besides, for the point, I don't like. Isn't there better options besides ruining our economy? How about building a wall around? It might sound, maybe I'm sounding stupid. Why can't you just build a wall around these, shore near the ocean areas to stop the thing from happening? Or like, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably come across as a climate change denier, and maybe I am.
You
But
mean
I
like
just,
building a seawall to stop
you know.
sea surges during
Yeah.
storm
I mean,
seasons and
what gets
such?
me the most people is like people say third world countries are ones affected more by climate change, and I says I think third world countries would be better off if we actually did not care about the environment. We could really build their societies to make it a better place. You know what I mean? I think climate change is actually affecting. I mean, what I'm saying, I really think climate change is overrated. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I know.
yeah, well, speaking of like high oil prices and climate change, like these high like oil prices would encourage like renewable and green energy like producers to produce more energy, since it'll be much more profitable for them. So this is I think, like, from what I read, like, oil investment may be declining, but I think that's a good thing because climate change. But like, what will replace that would be renewable energy. Like, so I think
I mean, why do we even have to do this? I said, like, we could do other options. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And also, I don't even.
Could we
I'm
do
not.
more nuclear power plants? That'd be cool.
Oh,
I'd be totally on
yeah,
board with
or
that.
maybe,
yeah.
and those it's gonna sound, anti-climate. I mean, denial, but it's only like the amount that's happening over how many years will the levels rise again?
Not sure.
Because let's say, I think they say like a couple inches, but the thing is, it's over like 100 years. So like, is it gonna be that bad? Like people say, I don't know. I mean, I
I mean,
might be
like, people aren't going to do like nothing during those 100 years.
Yeah, but the water is going to be absorbed by the land, though. That water that's
Yeah.
going to flood is going to be absorbed by the land. It's over 100 years. Not going to be like all at once,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a whole monopoly on the whole climate change thing. People claim to, that
I
it's
think
the
a lot of it is
pro-science.
fearmongery, but that's just me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, well, we talk about, they talk about the scientists being, believe that climate change is existing. How about these? How about, well, they talk about scientists believing 96% of biologists believing that life begins at conception. Will they talk about that or no? It's funny. They like love to talk about science stuff when it comes to abortion. That's when they become totally anti-science. When they compare a zygote to a sperm, which is totally anti-science. That's the totally most anti-science thing ever. Yet they say it. I know I'm going on a rant here, but
Yeah, I'd want to like focus more on the
right.
video
I'm
a
sorry.
bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like to go on like the Howard Stern type thing where where I go sort of off
He's
topic a lot,
cute.
but
He's
Okay,
cute.
that's okay. So
sorry.
resuming.
Yeah, resuming.
Are raking it in while consumers are paying more than ever at the pump. I think there is an argument here for a windfall profits tax on the
No.
oil companies at the very least.
No.
Incidentally, that's what the conservative government in Britain just instituted last Thursday.
No. One thing that's so funny about this whole thing is, does he expect people buying, buy if it would be better for the environment is people keeping
If
their
you
cars
increase
instead
the
of
cost
buying.
of doing business, I just have one question for Mr. Reich here. If you increase the overall costs of doing business, what do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. One of two things: either some places are going to go out of business, and thus they're not going to make anything that people obviously want and or need, or two, they're just going to raise prices to make up those costs.
No. And also one funny thing
Like,
about this whole
like
thing.
he does get that, right?
Yeah, no. Also one thing I was going to say here is like he's talking about this whole thing is like, if people buy like electric cars, it's not going to help the environment. It's going to make the environment worse. What's going to help the environment is keeping your cars, because where do you think you're going to make those cars out of thin air? I don't get these people. What they say, like us going to electric energy is probably going, which says more about the whole climate change movement. They're against improving our economy. You know what I mean? But yeah, I regress. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't go too off
You're
topic here.
good. You're good.
Okay, so I first want to respond to is like whole Conservative Party in the UK like doing this whole windfall tax thing, because I think I live in that country, so like I've done
Yeah, I
this
think you'd be in a
before,
better
but like
position to speak on that.
yeah, so like the pros, I mean, like I think like it's a few months, like 6 months in, or I think maybe so I'm not sure if we see like the effects properly of that, but like already there's like problems with like the fiscal regime, since they already want to extend it, since one of the companies, BP or Shell, one of them didn't like pay their tax, because like while they have made global profits, record profits, they made a loss, or like they didn't make that much profits in the UK because of like higher drilling costs, and the other the company
Let me
did
guess.
pay.
Onerous government regulations.
Actually, no, that's a whole other thing, but like the other
Well, I'm
like
just saying, would that have something to do with the costs of drilling there in the UK? Would that have anything to do with it?
actually they get tax deductions such subsidies, so like that's I think they're
Interesting.
incentivized. It's very like stupid, but like and with the other company, it did pay tax, but it was expected to pay tax, but not that much. And the thing is, because they're getting very little like revenue, and they're like they want to extend the windfall tax by another 3 years, which has caused a lot of uncertainty. And if you understand economics, you understand that business uncertainty or lack of business confidence is bad for business investment.
Yes.
And this is already compounded with the botched like conservative like mini budget proposal. Like I'm trying to look into that, but like it's kind of harrowing, since it seems to be like seem to show that the tax cuts policies on that good. Like I'll explain it later, but our like conservative like Liz Truss, she tried to propose like a large tax cut plan, but like there were apparently like revenue like deficit problems, and that actually scared businesses and apparently increased like borrowing costs via higher interest rate. It's a whole other thing, but like yeah, regardless, like the windfall tax in the UK isn't a good idea. Also, they even have an investment allowance where like for 91%, for every 91p of £1 like invested, they get it back. So that investment allowance is a tax deduction. So like if they did a full on windfall tax, they'd get even way more problems. Like also the Conservative Party isn't that like conservative, but anyway, there's a whole other
Yes,
thing.
when people make cross-cultural comparisons, especially in terms of political ideologies, like conservatives, conservative could mean something different in one country than it means in another country in terms of their overall policies, could it not?
Yeah, and also like there's also this thing that the Tories have stupidly done. Like I called it like the revenue or price cap, but like they kind of changed it in like the autumn statement. But like it's kind of similar. It might be like a windfall tax on renewable or green energy. So I don't think Reich wants to emulate the like conservatives on like energy or tax policy. But let's continue on.
What's more to blame? The pent up demand and all the other factors for inflation, or corporate greed, as you've spelled out?
Corporations have always been greedy.
Well, it's all of the above, Allison. I think it probably more pent up demand and supply shocks, but undoubtedly, big corporations are taking advantage of inflation as a cover to increase their profits. And it's not just oil companies. Also, you have food companies. There are four major food processors in America, including Tyson.
Once again, all of this was caused by government.
Huge record profits. And what are they doing? They're increasing their prices. They are saying,
like well, like here's the thing. Like if you have like zero profits where your like revenues meet your costs, like that includes labor costs, like you'd have like you'd have
What
like
would be
no
the
profit
incentive
to
to do
invest.
business at all?
I mean, like you have no profit to like invest in anyway, and like you say like record profits, but like prices are at record. Like that you could a lot of like
Here in
I've
America,
read that a lot of
inflation is
like
currently at a 40-year high, or 50-year, one of the two.
yeah, and
It's the
also
highest it's been since sometime in the 70s.
yeah, I think like maybe 60% of like the profits have been like maybe like paid to like due to inflation or something. I need to check that out.
Not to mention the
It's one
simple
of those
fact that because of inflation, every single dollar in existence has lost a great deal of its purchasing power. And companies
Yeah.
know this just as well as anyone else.
Yeah.
saying, well, we can't help it because of inflation. They can help it. The real issue for them, like the oil companies, is that they don't have very much competition. And without much competition, they have free rein to increase their prices.
I mean, I'd
What does
say
he
it's
mean when he says they don't have very much competition?
like monopolies
what
or
does he
market
mean?
concentration. Well, I think like it's possible that like the American like what the some right wing institute apparently debunked this, but I need to like read through it like through their sources.
The American the American Institute of Economic Research.
Oh no, not them. It's the American Action Forum. But I'm
Okay.
going to like look through like they actually like had two sources. Like I'm gonna read through it. They also linked like two sources that are not theirs that apparently showed like during the last 2 decades market concentration that hasn't been that much, and like apparently the price rises are in sectors that aren't very like concentrated, but we'll see. I need to read it and verify it just to be sure, but
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds
So
interesting.
we've had members of the administration. I mentioned Cecilia Rouse, Jared Bernstein, also on Brian Deese on the network today. They're available everywhere. But the polls show that despite the PR push, the American people are dissatisfied. Only 14% say that the economy now is good or excellent. 46% say that it's poor. If gas stays at $4.60, how much can a PR push accomplish?
Does this guy pump his own gas or buy his own groceries? I kind of want to know.
I think a PR
Because
push
otherwise, there's no way in hell that would surprise you.
all that much. I mean, it's important the administration get arguments out there and make sure people know that job growth has been steady and increasing and very good.
I mean,
important that
in like in comparison,
Really?
yeah, if you mean since the pandemic, then sure, but that's because I mean since the pandemic, job losses, sure, but like that. All right, how do I use like a metaphor
It's
for that?
really
Like,
just a regression to the mean at best.
yeah, like if Trump was still
To
president,
be
like that
perfectly
would
honest,
still
that's just a
happen under
regression
him.
to the
That
mean.
yeah, I guess that would be my argument that if Trump was still president, that those job recoveries, massive job recoveries, would still happen under him. Like this would happen independent of
absolutely.
like Biden's policies.
Also,
the
I didn't hear any mention of labor market participation rates. You might want to look at that.
administration get all the good news out there that is possible. But in the end, there is not a huge amount that any administration can do. This is why I've been pushing a windfall profits tax, because if even the conservatives in Britain can pass a windfall profits tax, and oil companies especially, it seems to me it's egregious, it's outrageous.
Yeah, like let's see if the oil companies actually pay it in the next few years, because like already like one of the big oil companies didn't pay like this year, and like because of that people are so angry that like there was pressure on them to extend by 3 years. Yeah, I need to like check on that update since then, like but first I'm gonna like focus on like other stuff like the European wealth tax video that Mikhail hopefully will be in
How much
Yes.
they are charging.
as well as the like green effing tax or green like price cap, whatever happened in like the autumn like statement.
Well over $4 a gallon, while they are making record profits. I mean, an administration should be, and it's easy to say this. I'm not in the administration, but the Biden administration should be reaching out to Republicans right now and saying this is outrageous, and no consumers ought to be paying this amount of money while the oil companies rake it in, and therefore please join us in a windfall profits tax, and the receipts will be distributed to people who desperately need it.
This is going to help the situation. How?
I mean, like
That's
I do
my
like
question to Mr. Reich. In what universe does he think this is going to help?
I do like bipartisanship, but like not this type of bipartisanship.
This sounds like a recipe for disaster to me.
Like I think a better like bipartisanship would be like what like Matt Gaetz mentioned, which is like what taking away the Jones Act. Like it would be like against both the big government interventionists in the Democratic Party, as well as the annoying like populists in the Republican Party, with like a big middle thing to both of them. I'm surprised Matt Gaetz mentioned that, since I thought he was more of a populist, but.
Why do people hate Matt Gaetz so much? I actually like Matt Gaetz. I'm sorry, no random, but just one thing. I agree with many stuff he says. He's pro. He's pro. Legalizing
I'll be right
things.
back.
He seems more of a libertarian to me than anything like that.
Wait, pro legalizing what?
Marijuana.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, all right. So
Sorry.
I know Stephen Michael Davis doesn't like him. I know that he's also got like allegations of like rape, but I don't know any.
It was for like a 17-year-old, I think, but I don't know if it's even true. And even you can. Nah, I don't want.
The problem with like rape allegations is like it's really hard to find out, verify if that's true or not. So that's the problem.
I mean, it's
like-
not rape. It's not. I mean, I don't know if it's rape. But, do you consider doing stuff with a 17-year-old rape? That's my question.
I mean, like regardless, I still don't like what it is. Like maybe the timing isn't right. Apparently, actually, no, wait. I mean, like I'm gonna like legally speaking, it is, but like I understand what you mean. Like,
No. I mean, like, I'm not gonna try. We don't even know if he did it though. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Worst comes to worst, he did an act which is disgusting, which is whatever. But I don't know if it's considered rape. You know what I mean? It's not like doing something to a 16-year-old. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think you're talking about like pedophilia. Okay, I understand. It's a little like weird when you always get to the 17 years, 11 months, and like 29 days.
No. I know. I do believe that's disgusting, but
Same.
Some states, I'm not trying. Bottom line is, we don't even know if he even did that. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we don't even know. I mean, like, we can't just accuse somebody of doing something we don't even know. Like, because by that logic, I could just accuse anybody of anything. And
okay. I mean? Wait, does Matt Gaetz believe that the 2020 election was stolen? Because maybe people hate him for that.
I mean, what's so bad about thinking that? I mean, like, never mind.
I
mean, like, I know you're against the whole thing, but
yeah.
I'm just wondering, do you believe that there was any funny bit? I think McKeel is more.
I mean, there's always going to be like funny business, but to what extent is the question?
I mean, I'm more of a person. Maybe it's because I don't want to get into this. You know, I mean, I don't really like to speak about these stuff because it's like I'm more of a policy wank, not more of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see.
I know this is random. I know this is actually I got two super random, but yeah, I don't know.
It is cool.
All right, so all right, so let's continue.
Huge percentage of their incomes for gas, as it should be distributed for a lot of other things like food.
Do you think the Biden administration will take your advice on that tax?
No.
I think he maybe like Biden didn't hear from it, but sadly, like before like the midterm, like Biden wanted a tax on windfall profits, like, and the thing is, like, I wanted to do a video on it, but like some of the main videos like that were talking about this was like Kyle Klinsky, who was talking about multiple things in that one video, including stock buybacks, the market concentration, which I was talking about before, like corporate greed, so-called corporate greed, and like other stuff, and I need to do a bunch of videos before I even respond to that like windfall like profit tax video by Kyle Klinsky and on Biden, but
gotcha.
I've done like the windfall profit tax like so many times. It's but yeah, I guess so. I guess we'll finish off this vid since Reich doesn't have much more to say.
Allison, I don't think so. Although maybe it will. I mean, again, I'm impressed by the fact that inflation is around the world. This is just a United States problem, and you have very large companies that are taking advantage of this inflation all over the world. Oil companies are kind of leading the pack, and if you have countries like Britain who are instituting a windfall profits tax and then using the money to help consumers get through all of this, well, that's a tremendous kind of.
This guy needs to take an economics class. I don't know if he
God.
knows this, but usually when you tax businesses higher, it causes more inflation. You know what I mean? Because they want to get as much profits as possible. I don't know. It's like like these are profit levels. They live in like a totally other world. They don't realize what's going to happen when you do this. You know what I mean? They want to make a profit. They try to make as much like.
When you make it more costly to do business, that means the prices go up, or businesses simply stop doing business entirely.
We live in a very competitive. I know we believe we live in a monopoly, but in reality, we live in a more competitive society. You know what I mean? And they want to get a leg up on each other. Trust me, they would like many places want to, like many places would like to be like Costco. I'm not sure if you know what Costco is, but Costco tends to have
we have Costco here.
Yeah,
I mean, like, but I don't think we have it to the same extent because it's not known as like a monopoly in like the UK.
No, I mean, it's not a monopoly, but the gas. I'm not sure if Nikhil knows this. The gas and it's always crowded in Costco because they have the cheapest gas. You know what I mean? You don't think other,
We have Costco here.
yeah, and you know about the gas whole thing that people are like crowding the gas station.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, because they have cheapest. You don't think other corporations would love to do that? Maybe there's something else. Maybe they could do that, but they just want to make money off. They're more what they call again more.
It's
Well,
possible that
the
other
oil
businesses are
industry and
more
prices
inefficient due
associated
to
with
like
it
higher costs that they
very
can't control.
fluctuating.
Right, and
Like
I think one of the reasons is is because Costco doesn't have it's not as convenient as other places. There's like a gas station every place. Costco's not the same thing. That's maybe. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I know it might sound like anti-capitalist saying I'm not anti-capitalist, but I hate Costco. I don't get the whole thing. You have to pay money to shop there. Like that's just
Wait.
that's one of my beef
But
with Costco.
wait, I'm confused. Like,
You mean the membership
don't you
cost?
pay money to like shop? Like, I'm confused. Like,
You have to pay money to get to shop to go inside the store. You have to have a membership card.
oh, okay,
I
now,
hate that.
okay, now I remember. Okay, now I see. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't get why people like it. Is it really that much cheaper than other stores? I know I'm going on a tangent here, but yeah.
I guess like let's watch this last 4 seconds.
Sorry.
It should take heed. Kind of measure. It's an important measure, and the United States should take heed.
You enjoy your job.
Okay, so yeah, I think we've gone through that pretty quickly. Actually, yeah, this is. Oh yeah, he was talking about like how he wanted to like use that revenue to like help workers, but the thing is like in terms of like the projected like tax, like there was a 1980s windfall like profits tax, and it was projected to like generate like $279 billion, but in reality it generated I think less than $40 billion. Although when I looked at this,
it's like you were talking about before. It had abysmal results compared to
well,
what was projected.
but like according to like this column, it's 79 billion. Or according to this, it's 39 billion. Like, but either way, this one is 30%. This one is even more horrendous. Like maybe 20%. I'm not going to be bothered to like do the math like right now, but like I'm not like apparently according to like documented the net tax revenues. This is the valid like revenue amount generated. Like I'm not sure like yeah. Anyway, so in terms of 79,000, like I use less than 30%, since I think this gave a figure of like when dividing this by this like was 28%. So when I said less than 30%, like in my videos, it can refer to this amount or even this amount. So yeah, like regardless, like if you and this was mainly due to like lower oil production, and also a lot of like corporate tax deductions. Okay, yeah. First, windfall profit taxes were were deductible under the corporate income tax, reducing the additional revenues collected from oil companies by about half. Yeah. So I'm planning on like maybe doing a video at some point in maybe kind of a response to Kyle Kulinski, kind of not in the United States. What is it like? Maybe it's this one. Well, like so apparently the tax reductions. All right, so what? Okay, so. Okay, let's see. Congress also felt the industry was not paying its fair share of federal taxes. The oil industry's low effective income rate tax rates were due to the availability of two oil industry tax deductions: the percentage depletion allowance and the provision which allows companies to expense deductibly in the initial year the intangible cost of like drilling. These were the main two reasons, and were like one of the motivating factors behind the windfall tax. But I think maybe these weren't like dealt with properly, and like those like tax deductions may have been the ones that were the part of the corporate tax deductions that like lowered tax revenues by half. Like I've been looking for like specific like reasons for why the corporate tax deductions for like the oil companies like exist like here like but like I haven't got any specifics for why the 1980 like failed other than general corporate tax deductions for oil industry. But like Kyle Kunze actually like mentioned that like the two excess profits taxes under like Roosevelt and like Woodrow Wilson like didn't have these like tax deductions, and like he argued that better. I'm gonna like that's why I'm going to like it check like it out. I've been looking at a study. It's as a whole thing. Yeah. Anyway, like all right. So anyway Toasted, you wanted to like talk about like the whole Kanye West situation.
Yeah, sorry, my baby is in the background. Anyways, yeah, I just want first of all, why is nobody giving credit to comic coming soon?
Sorry.
Wait, you have a kid?
This is a long story. No,
Okay.
my niece. They want me to come soon, but I'll just make this quickly before I go. Is like, um,
Okay.
nobody's giving any credit to Alex Jones for this. Alex
Oh,
Jones
yeah,
has
yeah.
never, no, he has never been anti-Semitic. Yet they labor him. It gets me so upset because he's clearly not anti-Semitic. He's clearly, and among conspiracy theorists, that's especially he doesn't deny Holocaust or anything like that, and he gets no credit for what he did with Kanye West. He gets the opposite, and it's amazing to me. Same thing
I
with
mean,
Tim Pool. Same thing, and it gets me so upset. Like how how like, and people like even who some black guy is Derek Blackman. Like
yeah.
he's from these liberal people from the skeptic community that became liberals. He was blaming Alex Jones for always bringing on Nazis, which I'm clearly you see how much he felt some black guy. He really felt. He calls Walsh a Nazi now, but the thing is about Alex Jones is like Oprah. She brings in these people. She brought in Nazis, stuff like that. Is Temple and Alex Jones not allowed to do that, but Oprah is allowed to do it. The View does it. Every social media platform does that. It's amazing to me. And one thing I'm just going to say about this whole thing that got me upset, maybe I'm biased because I'm Orthodox Jew, but it's like the whole thing that I agree with many stuff he says, but the thing is like some of the criticisms they give does not make any sense. Like they blame the Talmud for like what's happening with the Jews, when in reality the Talmud is not. They don't even believe in the Talmud. I mean, it's just that's the funniest thing. They don't even believe in the Talmud. Harvey Weinstein, all these people, they're married to like Gentiles. That's very anti the Talmud. I thought Nick Fuentes says. What I mean? It's like you can criticize the Talmud all you want. Everything deserves criticism. But the thing is, when you like just have to conflate stuff with, there's a difference between Orthodox Jews and between Reform Jews. And I don't think you should mix up. That's bad faith. That makes sense. I'm sorry, I don't know what the guys want. What do they like? With Islam, we want Reformation, right? Well, with Judaism, we have Reformation, but the Reformation they turned out to be more liberal. Now you can say it's because we didn't get the right Reformation, but you get what I mean. And there's many stuff that just is inconsistencies here. Like at least, and the thing about when he criticizes the Talmud, I know you guys. I don't want to get too into it. I know, is like Nick, like at least David Duke, he also criticized the Old Testament. You know what I mean? But Nick Fuentes,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because many stuff that are anti, they also like in Old Testament, they also say anti. I know people will deny it. They also say anti-Gentile stuff there, but people ignore that. Am I wrong about this, or maybe you guys translate? Am I saying anything wrong here?
No, not that I can think of.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like Nick Fuentes when he was on Alex Jones. I maybe I could do a whole stream about it. He was like saying like how in the Talmud that you're able to, he was saying like many different stuff. Like first of all, he's saying like it says they're anti-marrying Gentiles. They believe that's like bestiality. Well, hello, Nick is anti-interracial marriage too. So I don't know what he's trying to bring out here. Then he brought up that they're allowed to molest children as long as they're Gentile, which is not true, by the way. I will get into this, but you just said before it was like bestiality to marry a Gentile. Now it's okay. You know what I mean? It's like the inconsistencies here. This is the thing. Is like I'm okay if you criticizing Talmud or criticizing Judaism for that matter, because there's stuff that you could say deserve criticism, but at least be good faith in it. When you don't bring good faith into these stuff, and besides, these are the same people. The ones that criticize Talmud are the same people that believe the New Testament is anti-Semitic. Now, I don't believe the New Testament is anti-Semitic. I'm not these type of people, but these people claim that the New Testament is anti-Semitic and bring up phrases from New Testament to promote their anti. I don't believe that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I believe that. And it's just amazing. Just amazing to me. Also about Nick Fuentes talking about pedophilia. And I'm
Seems
not
like a
against
really
it.
weird claim to make.
Yeah, about the
Yeah, I'm just
thing.
saying that seems like a very strange claim to make when you consider that the New Testament was born out of the principles of the Old Testament that
Right,
had simply been
exactly.
revitalized, as I understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't take them seriously when they worship a literal Jew. Jesus was a Jew, and they
Yeah.
hate Jews. And don't give me this whole thing. Oh, Jews killed him. But let me ask you a question: if there was a Jew in the distant right who was killed by in the state of Israel, you think they would give him the all the There'd still be these people that say, oh, he was a Jew, so I don't like him. You know what I mean? It's like these people. They have no consistency here. I don't think these same people won't give they give the benefit of that to Jesus not being just because Jews wanted to kill him, but they don't give the same benefit of that to other people. It's amazing. Not to mention that all of his followers were Jewish and that he only preached to Jewish. It's just like this whole. That's why I don't take them seriously. You know what I mean? That's why I don't take these people seriously. It's the
I mean, he also preached to like maybe some Gentiles or his followers, like
no, his
preached to
followers did, but he never did actually. If that makes sense, it was Paul that did it. If you
I guess he didn't have the opportunity. Although there were like the Samaritan, there was maybe.
right.
I mean, like there was that like Samaritan like woman, I think, or like
Yes,
but
the story of the Good Samaritan.
yeah, but like also there was that woman who like I don't know, like I forgot the exact story, but like she had faith and like I don't know, it was like weird, like
I think
the
Samaritans
whole
are Jewish, by the way. I think they're Jewish. The currently Samaritans are actually Jewish. I mean, they
oh
keep
yeah,
many. They're not rabbinical, but they keep many of the Jewish traditions. So
yeah, like
yeah.
a sect, like I guess similar to how like Christians kind of like were a Jewish sect, but then like
I think Sam Harris actually criticizes Jesus for being too anti-Gentile. If that makes sense. I mean, I'm not saying that's true, but what I'm saying, right? Sam Harris. I think he says that he was. So I don't know. This just what bugs me about this whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like you claim to not hate Jews. You say that. I mean, and I'm not trying to be an SJW here. I know I might sound like I know. Also, like I'll just put one thing he criticizes the Talmud for supporting pedophilia when I know it actually doesn't. I could get into the whole thing. When I mean, I'm not trying to. I don't like to criticize Christians. Don't get me wrong. I don't want but clearly the Catholic Church and many of these other Christians have a problem with pedophilia. Islam has a problem with pedophilia. He's not mentioning that up. You know what I mean? Also,
like
yeah.
There's definitely been like cases in like the institutional Catholic Church that are covering up of cases, but I'm not sure like as a general rule there's been like like statistical like problems with like Catholic priests.
Well, I'm saying neither is it within the Jewish community.
Oh yeah, true.
Islam is the big problem, but we don't speak about that. Or it speaks about Jews being allowed to charge interest to Gentiles, but not to their own Jews. But Islam does the same thing. You know what I mean? Islam does.
Oh yeah.
This is what and besides, Islam has never gone through a reformation. Catholicism, all these things went through a reformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that the output was us, the Protestants.
Exactly. Even Jews went through a referendum. Yeah, it's like this is what gets me, upset is the lack of honesty here. You can criticize what you want, but and I could get through the whole thing, you know what I mean? And one more thing is I think Alex Jones went really, really well. He says you claim that these people love the Jews, but these own Jews are putting these bad policies onto Israel, like the vaccine. I know you might disagree with me, but the vaccine policy, like George Soros, he put a video of George Soros, the Jewish boogeyman, who in reality he worked with the Nazis and claimed to have no guilt of working with the Nazis. You know what I mean? It's like
wasn't George Soros like really long, like 12, like
yeah, but still he should have felt. I mean, I guess
I mean like maybe he should have, but like something like that would I don't know, like ruin like a person's like mind, like but
right. Right, but the thing is, I just don't get they criticize the thing that gets me bothered is they criticize, and you can criticize Tom all you want, you could make, but you're putting it on and they say, oh, they don't take. I argued with a white supremacist, not white, a neo-Nazi about this, and he says, oh, they take only the bad parts, they're influenced from it. I'm like, are you guys retarded? Are you guys literally retarded here? Because like Harvey Weinstein, you can't claim the Talmud is what he did wrong because he married a Gentile, or all these people, many of them are not interested. They actually hate. And that's the funny part is with the left-wing people. I see the left-wing people are only angry right now when Kanye West is criticizing their people. But we have stories I'm not sure if you know about the Netflix documentary on Orthodox or many other they have films that are anti-Orthodox Jews. You know what I mean? And the
Mm.
left-wing media doesn't care about that. They simply ignore it. They make many films about it. So I think the reason is because they're calling them out. They're calling the secular ones out, but they're not doing it in a good way. I'm not trying to say like I don't hate anybody. I don't hate Nick Fuentes. I don't hate any. And so I've met some good people in the community, but I sort of realized that them being the SJW from the right wing might be, because what they say about Jews is the same thing that Jews control the media, stuff like that is like the same thing that left wing people say, which I
Yeah.
must say, I'm anti the Jews. Maybe I hope I'm
But-
not. I hope I'm not scaring you here. Like I know people are a little bit
Mhm.
afraid, but like the way they say like the Jews, run the media, stuff like that, run all these businesses, and I disagree with all the liberalness that the Jews do, and I condone it, and I believe it's going to cause problems. I believe could cause bad consequences, the liberalness, but with them running industries, what you want them to be like socialists? You know what I mean? Like these people, they hate blacks for not being involved too much in business, for not doing so well, but they hate Jews for doing too well. It doesn't make any sense. I know I'm being on a rant here, and listen, I'm not for. I don't agree with everything they did with Kanye. I'm anti what they did with Kanye because they just proved in a sense Kanye's point. I don't believe it's as black and white as people say, but I want good faith in these discussions. You know what I mean? But that's my 2 cents here. I know I'm just rambling off, but
Yeah.
sorry. I hope I didn't spook you guys out, but
No, you're fine.
yeah, maybe we could. Yeah, you're up for a stream later about that.
I think that a lot of all of this is just made up hype. I really
Right.
do. I think it's really just a lot of people looking for something to throw a fit about, personally. But I do agree, you absolutely criticize criticize, scrutinize, and investigate anything and everything. Absolutely. But if you're going to argue something, you should at least argue in good faith.
Right, exactly. I'm just gonna say one thing is like them using the Jews as the boogeyman nobody could criticize, them being the more. I don't think this is the case. You know what I mean? Like for all what's happening in Kanye West, he could just go into a manic state, claim he went through a manic state, and he'll get everything back. You know what I mean? But like Papa John's, like are just go for people that saying the Jews are the the boogeyman. Papa John, he criticized black people, and he lost everything. There are many.
Well, but I don't think he criticized black people. I think he only just said the N word, and even that, like.
You have Roseanne Barr. She's a Jew. She got canceled for saying, for criticizing a person she didn't even know was black. You know what I mean? The claim that the Jews are the big, and in reality, also.
Apparently, according to Roseanne, like she looked Jewish, which if you look at it, seems fair enough. I think she was mixed race, so
I think she was Italian. I thought she was Italian, but yeah, but she's from Iran. There's no blacks in Iran, so I was confused about that. My mother's from Iran. Told that to me, but also not to not also like. If Jews were really and do they have more power than white people and Christians? Absolutely, but everybody has more power.
Well, I mean, like more. I think they have more economic power.
Right,
but that's mostly because of I don't know, hard work. Like different cultures. Some have Asians have more like economic power. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Like although like I think Fuentes would probably say like it's a good thing that whites have more economic power, but like
Jews, yeah. I mean, this is how bad faith they are. They say that blacks, Jews, whites are smarter than blacks because of the LIQ test. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, and they criticize anybody that criticizes that study. Yet the same study, they criticize the place that says Ashkenazi Jews. The same study that claims Ashkenazi Jews have the high IQ. They say, oh, that's not true. You know what I mean? So whites having smarter IQs than blacks, that's true, but not. You see the bad faith here. You see what I'm saying here, and it's like, but I'm saying the right to criticize. You could. And be fair, whites and Christians, you criticize them as much as you want. I don't know if it's the same thing with Jews, but say that their powerfulness. If they're so powerful, why don't they consider themselves a minority? Why don't people consider Ben Shapiro and Bernie Sanders a complete minority? People call them white. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much them.
That is an interesting question.
Exactly, and I may be biased here. I'm not Kill. I'm sure. I'm not sure if Theron, would you be up for a stream? Maybe like later tonight, a lot later tonight, talking about this because I think to react to this.
I mean, like probably not. Maybe I'll pop in. Who knows? But like, like I've been like having a pretty like busy week where I had to like.
I hear you, man.
Yeah. No, but I actually spoke to these people, and to be honest with you, these people in this right, they're not bad. They have bad opinions, but they're not. Many of them, struggle through life. That's why most people from distant right. The reason why they have all
Oh
these,
yeah.
they're a haven among ALOCs is because they're all people that are antisocial, you know. But
I
they're
think that's
not.
a lot. I think that's a lot of people in the internet.
Yeah, but they're not evil people like the media claims. I was gonna be evil like the media claims. I have some friends in that movement. I think he want to admit to me. I tried to explain to him this, and he said to me, and I think he actually says to me, "You might be saying the truth, but you're not gonna be able to convince us." You know what I mean? I sort of
What the hell? Like that's some weird admission of like intellectual dishonesty.
right. But that's the thing that they're just they. I showed them clips from Wikipedia proving that that these type of the Jews criticizing don't believe in Talmud, but they admit to me that it's
Oh
I'm not.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
it
to
is
be
what it
fair,
is.
Theron, to be fair here, there actually are a lot of people out there that no matter how much evidence, no matter how much in the way of facts, data, so forth, just irrefutable evidence you present them, they still will not go along with whatever it is. They
Right.
Yeah.
still will not agree with you.
No, but
Yeah.
this is funny from this community that claims to be the intellectual dark web. How they're not so intellectual, because the people I don't agree with these people that say, oh, we can't talk about race, we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that. I don't like putting stuff around that you can't do, but these people that claim they're not that. I think this is the thing I'm angry about is who would have been a good person to interview Kanye West. I wish they would do this, and Nuance Bro would be a perfect interview for Kanye West. Because Nuance Bro, he's not. He's in the middle of both. He's a very radical centrist. You know what I mean? He doesn't mind bringing up any
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's kind of funny because, like, I don't know, Stephen Michael Davison, like, the Nuance Bro are kind of starting to beef a little bit because Nuance Bro is a bit more of a populist and, like, Stephen Michael Davis is
I
more
mean,
of an.
this is the thing I don't like about Nuance Bro. And maybe I'm biased. Is listen, there's plenty of stuff to criticize about Israel. Don't get me wrong, but he goes too anti-Israel, if that makes sense. Like to the point where it's like he'll blame Israel for being anti-Arab when he won't talk about Hamas being the most anti-Jewish place out there. You know what I mean? It's like he's a little bit too anti-Israel, if that makes sense. I don't know, which
Interesting.
doesn't make sense. Like he's in a sense he's almost pro Hamas. I mean, not saying he's pro yet, but
Well, I also like Stevens like not kind of happy with like some of the like, and the anti anti like social justice like stuff, and I mean that in, let's say, like, for example, he said like in one tweet, like, if it's between the LGBT like groomers and like the is hard, like, the hard ultra conservative Islamic society, he'd prefer the ultra Islamic conservative society, which
that,
Stephen didn't
yeah,
like. So
that's stupid though. I heard this policy a lot. People like saying, "Oh, we love Palestine better than Israel because at least they believe in Jesus in some form." But funny part is, you wouldn't want to live in an Islamic society. You know what I mean? Like they hate Christians. Trust
yeah,
me.
yeah. That,
These
yeah,
people,
he was talking about like as if it was a choice between the LGBT, like the current state
right,
of the LGBT, and then
right.
uh
No, but I'm saying like these people that criticize Israel for being whatever for denying, they
yeah.
won't talk about Palestine. They won't want to live in Palestine. Trust me, Palestinians they hate Christians, and you'll
Oh
claim
yeah,
that
yeah,
at least they believe in how Christians believe in Jesus. These Muslims they believe that that's one of the most serious crimes in their Quran. You know what I mean? It's not a joke. At least Jews don't believe. Jews believe that as long as you believe in the seven stuff, you won't get killed. So they don't care how your theology really so much. There's a reason why Jewish people, the anti-Trinity videos, they're mostly from Muslims, not Jewish people. You know what I mean?
hmm
Because they care. Maybe
oh
I'm.
yeah,
No, these people are like you're saying, people that criticize Israel for maybe not giving a tax credit for these missionary for a show or not letting them stream in their country anymore, something like that. But they
but
won't. But they'll take a blind eye to all these Arab countries, Palestine, which literally treats Christians very badly. You know what I mean? It's just there's no consistency here. You know what I mean?
hmm. um
Sorry,
well,
sorry.
I've definitely had like a definitely had a like anti-Islam attitude before, but like I'm right now I have a policy of basically like not to talk about Islam until I've like read the Quran and other stuff
Right,
since
exactly. Yeah, true. I'm not anti-Islam by any
yeah
after.
Yeah.
After
So if I and the reason, so that's the reason why I don't speak about like Islam. Maybe I'll speak about it later when I'm more like informed. But like that's why I'm
No,
not
that's fair.
really.
I mean,
That's
to be
that's why I'm
fair,
not really like responding to anything like Toasted
Right.
is saying. I may like talk about like these kind of like laws of like Islamic theocracies, because that's much easier to like look into, and it's pretty obvious that the like theocracies that happen to be the countries that happen to be Islamic don't generally have good human rights record, something like that. Like the stat stuff, I can definitely like talk about more on, but
Right.
yeah, on the religion, like
Yeah,
maybe
no,
in sometime in the future.
and one thing I'm just gonna say is like the funny part is this is in that stream when Nick was talking about the Talmud. So Karen was second. It doesn't really say that in the Holy Book because I don't know. I just heard that from Ryan Green, which was very hilarious. He clearly, because the Talmud, like you say you want to read the whole Quran. If you want to criticize the Talmud, you're going to take you like a million years because that thing is huge. You know what I mean? That thing is like the size of like I'm not sure if you ever saw.
Really?
Oh man, it could fill a
I did
whole.
not
Like
know that.
okay, in comparison to the Bible, how huge is it?
Triple the size. Let me get you a
Ooh.
picture. It's huge. Let me
That
get.
would
Should I get
definitely
you
take some time.
Talmud? Talmud. Oh, face of- yeah. One second. And also the thing I like how Nick brings this up, but if the Christians would do the same thing, make a similar book like Talmud, is also because Talmud is basically a bunch of debates where they have their own discussion and they finally reach their consensus. That's how it's like a law thing, you know what I mean? It's like a court thing. They each have their own debates and then they finally reach a consensus. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like not every word they say is what we hold. This is a debate and then we finally reach the consensus. Do you get what I mean or no?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you're blaming it.
So it's not even a monolith.
Right, exactly. I mean, we hold what it says is true, but yeah, it's just like we hold what it says is true, but it's like how do I put it? But it's like it's like a bunch of like imagine if you had a book of all the apostles debating something or all the church fathers debating something, and then they finally exactly it's not a monolith exactly. But here, let me show you something. Let me just show you something. Just how big the Talmud is. Granted, this is an English version. Granted, this is an English version, so it might be longer than. But this is how big it is. This is how many books it is.
I can't see anything.
Same.
You can't see it.
I
You seen
mean, like, are you sharing
Are
your
you sharing
screen
your
or are
screen?
you or?
I'm sharing my screen now.
Wait, let me see if.
It's in the background.
Oh, okay. Add to stream. Okay, that's me. Okay, all right. Now I see. I had to add it.
Holy hell!
Yeah.
Wait. That's all the books of the Talmud.
Right. To be fair, this is in English. It's the Hebrew. Yeah. That's how many books there are. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, that would take a hot minute.
Yeah, it's a very complicated thing to do. Like that's why I don't take these people seriously. You know how
That's
hard
a
it is
lot.
to read. No, but no, it also goes through a bunch of. Let me show you a standard page of it. Because a standard page it goes through many commentaries. Yeah, so people that try to criticize it's not easy because it takes a long time just to understand it. You know what I mean? It's not a simple thing. Yeah. Yeah, I actually have to go soon.
You could probably spend like
same
5
here.
years and not even get through all
Yeah,
that.
you have no, you don't. You have to do this. Like it takes you 6 years to finish it, and that's if you go fast. If you go fast, if you do a page at a time, which takes time to do a page, it'll take you 6 years.
Yeah, I have to leave as well.
Yeah, sure. My mother's getting out of Romania. Phil, 1 second. Let me just take this
okay.
out.
Got it.
Let me just share one thing. Let me show you the page of it. I mean, it might not seem big, but it's like that's combat. 1 second. Yeah. Here is how big a page is. You see, they have all. This is the thing, and the thing over in the middle is the Talmud, and the rest is the commentary on it. The blue and yellow stuff are the commentary on. So you see how it's not that easy just to create, just to whatever with it. You got me or no?
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, sharing my screen.
But I think Sorry, I think I need to add it again.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Sorry. Sorry, I'm doing something else as well. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how big it is. Yeah, that's the red stuff. The middle is the part where there's the Talmud, and the rest is explaining of it. So yeah, it's a very complicated thing. Yeah,
That's in depth.
Yeah,
and that's just one page. Wow.
Yeah, So yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's that's the story. By the way, one thing I'll share with you guys, I know we can't do it right now, is who Vincent James is?
Oh yeah.
Now he's
I've heard the
praising
name.
Michael Jackson. Claimed that he got his points from Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was based, even though Michael Jackson was like a pedophile. I mean, I don't know. What do you believe that he was a pedophile or no?
I don't know. I haven't like looked into the allegations.
I would honestly have to take a deep dive look into it to give
I
you
mean,
a
he was
definitive answer. He was
I,
definitely a character. I'll say that.
I mean, I don't think it was a pedophile because I don't think like whatever, but he was clearly a creep. If that makes not a creep, but he was weird. He had children for
Okay,
his everybody.
yeah, it's eccentric.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, but
Like I
that's all I have to
said,
say.
he was definitely a character. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. I have to go now. Coming on the stream right now. I think my mother is. You heard her calling my name. Yeah. I think.
All right. Have a good one, Toasted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you too.
you too. Yeah,
Bye.
bye, Toasted.
Bye.
And then there were two. Yeah. So you and Toasted are. I mean, you and Toasted are having a stream.
Possible. We'll figure that out here later on.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly,
Yeah,
I'm wondering if I'm going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons here later. And yes, I'm a geek.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek too.
But I'll get in touch with him here shortly, and we'll see what we want to do.
Yeah. So like if you're I'll probably not be able to like make it, but we'll see. Yeah. So speaking of which, like in terms of like the Audacity thing, were you like not able to like download it or?
Oh, I just hadn't had the chance. These last couple of days have been weird for me, so I apologize.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
that's
will
completely
see about
fine.
working on that here just shortly.
Yeah. All right. So
But yeah, I will get on that here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it's a big help that you're like doing this, but like I guess yeah, for now I guess we'll like finish the stream.
Oh, happy
like
to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, like everyone for like watching this stream and taking the time to watch. Yeah, like I'm hoping to like well, I'm not sure if you'll be happy with this deadline. I'm hoping to release the European wealth taxes video like next week, but like we'll see. Like we'll see.
Okay. Okay, then we will work on that.
Yeah.
You have any closing thoughts in regards to the statements of CNN and Robert Third Reich?
Like I may be like getting the opportunity to debunk him maybe more, and like I'm gonna work more on like the windfall tax stuff.
Trading Robert Reich. This could be fun.
Although that, to be fair, that would be like based on the windfall tax. Like I'm gonna create a windfall tax saga. Like there'll be like a bunch of like response videos, bunch of like information. Like the first part will be the EU wealth tax. But then after that would be I don't know. Then it would be like whether analyzing whether Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax would have worked. Like it was a proposal back in maybe 2019, but I'm gonna check if that would have worked. Then I'm gonna like do a tier by tier response video, or maybe a Robert Reich response video. Like and also a denims response video, like based on like Amazon, like it's that you may not know who Denims is, but she's a left wing like Twitch streamer, and like she did a video like response to like Freedom Tunes on like stocks and stuff, and like she mentioned like the Elizabeth Warren's tax plan, and so even then I've already started my wealth tax saga with like the whole like Biden billionaire wealth tax. I even got that in. I even got the information on like the wealth tax being the European wealth taxes being a big failure. So yeah, I'm hoping to like get the script. Like most of the days I think are like is good that I have, like because like when I was doing it, like I was kind of close to being finished. But yeah. Yeah, so like I also have planned to do a old stock buyback saga, but like that video is gonna be very long. I have a whole lot of sagas. Yeah, the oil
This'll be
saga.
fun.
Yeah, the wealth tax saga, the oil saga, the stock buyback saga. So many lovely sagas.
This will be fun.
So, yeah, thanks. All right, so I guess we'll finish now. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and see you later. Bye,
All right.
guys.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me, and live free or die trying.
All right, bye.
Bye.